Well, hello there, my little darlings. Welcome to Grandma Dora's Lunchtime Stories. Grab your plates, get comfy, and let's dive into today's tale. This is the story of a little girl named Tilly and her big messy mess. Now, Tilly was a sweet little girl, full of energy and excitement, but oh dear me, she had one teeny tiny problem. She was lazy. Tilly never ever cleaned her room. Her room looked like a wild jungle where toys, books, and clothes all lived in complete and total chaos. Clothes on the floor? Leave them there? Toys under the bed? Who cares? Books on the chair? Perfect spot. Her mother always told her, "Tilly, you need to clean up your room. One day you'll lose something important in all that mess." But did Tilly listen? No, she did not. She just rolled her eyes and said, "I know where everything is, Mama." Whenever her mother said, "Tilly, a tidy room is a happy room," Tilly would just shrug and say, "I'll do it later." Except later never came. But one day, something happened that made Tilly wish she had listened. It all started when Tilly received a very special invitation. It was from her best friend Mia, inviting her to the most incredible birthday party ever. There would be bouncy castles, slides, a huge chocolate fountain, cupcakes in every color, and even a real-life pony. Tilly was thrilled. She grabbed the sparkly golden invitation card from Mia, ran all the way home, and waved it in the air like a victory flag. Mama, look! I got invited to Mia's party," her mother smiled. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. Just make sure to keep that invitation safe. You'll need it to get in." Tilly nodded and ran straight to her room, but then, the doorbell rang. And do you know what she did? Instead of putting the invitation somewhere safe, like in her school bag or on the table, she tossed it onto her already messy desk, right on top of a pile of books, crayons, and yesterday's sandwich crust. And then, she forgot all about it. And that, my dear ones, was the beginning of her troubles. 3 days passed. The morning of the party arrived and Tilly was beyond excited. She put on her prettiest dress, brushed her hair until it shined, and slipped on her best sparkly shoes. She was ready. But just as she was about to leave, her mother called out, "Tilly, do you have your invitation?" Tilly's heart stopped. Oh no. She had completely forgotten about the invitation. Where did she last see it? Tilly ran to her desk. No invitation. She checked her school bag. Crushed cookies? Yes. Invitation? No. She looked under her bed. A lost sock from last Christmas, a pencil she'd always thought was in her backpack, and something suspiciously sticky. Still, no invitation. She started tossing things around, digging through piles of clothes, shaking out books, flipping over pillows. But the invitation was nowhere to be found. And then, just to make things worse, she suddenly remembered something terrible. Mia's party had one very strict rule: no invitation, no entry. Tilly gulped. She had to find that invitation. She searched and searched. She threw her toys in one direction and flipped her blankets in another. She even stuck her head inside her wardrobe to check. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Then she looked up at the clock. Oh no. The party had already started. Panic set in. Tilly's heart started racing. Her eyes filled with tears. She sniffled. She hiccuped. And then she cried and cried and cried. She had waited all week for this party, picked out the perfect outfit, and now she couldn't go because she had lost her invitation in her own messy room. At that moment, her mother walked in. She took one look at the room, clothes thrown everywhere, toys scattered, Tilly sitting in the middle of the mess with big, teary eyes, and she just sighed. "Tilly, sweetheart, this is exactly what I was talking about. If you had cleaned your room, you wouldn't have lost your invitation." Tilly wiped her nose. She knew Mama was right. If only she had listened. And then, just as she was about to give up, Mama bent down, picked up an old notebook from the corner of the room, and there it was, the golden sparkly invitation peeking out from underneath. "Here it is," Mama said. Tilly's eyes lit up. "Oh, thank you, Mama." She grabbed the invitation and dashed out the door, faster than a squirrel on roller skates. By the time she got to the party, the games had already started, but she made it just in time for cake. And oh, what a cake it was, 5 layers tall, covered in sprinkles and chocolate frosting. From that day on, Tilly never let her room get messy again. She learned her lesson the hard way. Now, every night before bed, she tidies up, puts her toys away, and makes sure her important things, like schoolwork and invitations, are always in a safe place. Because let's be honest, no party is worth losing over a messy room. And that, my sweet ones, is the end of our story. Tilly's big mess. What a lesson we've learned today. Remember, keeping things tidy makes life so much easier. And who knows, you might just find something special when you clean up. Until next time, this is Grandma Dora saying, keep your rooms clean and your hearts even cleaner. Now eat up, be kind, and always remember, Grandma Dora loves you. See you next time for another lunchtime story. Bye-bye, my dears. Hello there, my little darlings. Welcome to Grandma Dora's Lunchtime Stories. Have you got your tummies full and your ears wide open? Good, because today I have a special story just for you. It's about a boy named David who had plenty of toys but never wanted to share. Let's begin. David had the biggest, most colorful toy collection in the entire neighborhood. He had cars that zoomed, robots that beeped, and stuffed animals so fluffy they looked like tiny clouds. But there was one problem. David never, ever shared. When his classmates came over, they would excitedly ask, "David, can we play with your toys?" But David would shake his head so fast you'd think he was a bobblehead doll. "Nope, these are mine. If I share, they might get lost, or worse, broken." At first, his friends tried to convince him. They promised to be careful, to take turns, to put the toys back where they belonged. But every time, David would cross his arms and refuse. Eventually, his friends stopped asking. They found other games to play, with each other. So there David sat, surrounded by his mountains of toys, all alone. One afternoon, David's neighbor, little Luke, came over to visit. Luke didn't have many toys, and his eyes sparkled with excitement when he saw David's huge collection. "David, can I play with your toy train?" he asked, his tiny hands reaching out. David quickly pulled the train away. "No, it's mine," he snapped. Just then, David's mother walked in and saw what happened. She knelt beside David and said, "Sweetheart, toys are more fun when you share. Imagine how happy Luke would be if you let him play too." But David only pouted. He didn't want to take the risk. Later that evening, disaster struck. David was playing with his favorite toy soldier when, crunch! Someone accidentally stepped on it. His most beloved toy was now in tiny broken pieces. David's heart sank. He cried and cried, hugging the remains of his soldier. Now, he was even more determined never to share. "If I don't let anyone touch my toys, this will never happen again," he thought. The next day at school, David sat on the playground, rolling his toy truck back and forth in the sand. But it wasn't fun, not really. From the corner of his eye, he watched his classmates playing together. They were laughing, giggling, chasing each other around. Tim had a soccer ball, and everyone was taking turns kicking it. Lucy had a skipping rope, and her friends were jumping and counting in perfect rhythm. David sighed. Why does playing alone feel so boring? Just then, vroom! Something zoomed past him. It was the coolest, fastest, shiniest toy car he had ever seen. It had flashing lights, made real engine sounds, and could even flip in the air. And guess who had it? Ben, the new kid. David's eyes widened like saucers. He wanted to play with that car so badly. So for the first time ever, he walked over and asked, "Ben, can I have a turn with your car?" Ben looked at him and smiled. "Sure, but let's play together." David blinked in surprise. Just like that? No arguing? No begging? Ben simply handed the car to him. And oh, was it fun! They took turns zooming the car down the playground, making funny sound effects and setting up ramps with small rocks. Other kids noticed the fun and joined in, bringing their own toys. Soon the entire class was playing together, laughing and cheering. For the first time, David was having real fun. At the end of playtime, David hesitated before running home. He looked at his own toy truck, then at Ben's smiling face. Taking a deep breath, he held out his truck and said, "Ben, do you want to play with my truck tomorrow?" Ben's grin grew even bigger. That would be awesome. The next day, David brought not just his truck, but a whole box of toys. His friends were shocked. "Are you really sharing?" they asked. David nodded with a proud smile, and from that day forward, playtime was never lonely again. And that, my dear little ones, is how David learned that sharing makes everything more fun. When we share, we don't just give away a toy, we invite others into our joy. So always remember to share, and you'll never play alone. Now don't forget to come back for more Grandma Dora's lunchtime stories. Until next time, keep being kind, keep being sweet, and always remember, sharing is caring. Bye-bye, my darlings.
It's a lovely day today. Sammy plays with his friends, Bernice the bunny, and Peter the puppy.
Yay! Playing together is so much fun!
We should do this every day!
That would be awesome! Playing is fun. But do you know what's even better?
More playtime?
Kindness. Because Jesus says we should be kind to everyone, even strangers. Once upon a time, there was a man walking on a lonely road. Suddenly, some bad guys heard him and left him there.
That's so mean. Did anyone help him?
Well, first, a fancy priest walked by, but he didn't stop.
What? But priests are supposed to be nice.
Then another man walked by. He was important too, but he also ignored him.
That's not nice. Who helped him?
A Samaritan, a man from a different town, saw him and said, "I'll help you." He cleaned his wounds and took care of him.
So he was kind, even though he didn't know him?
Yes, Jesus told this story to show that kindness isn't about who looks important. It's about love.
I get it now. Being kind means helping others, even if they're different from us. Like when Peter shared his juice with me.
Hey, that was my last juice box.
Now go out and be kind today. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun stories.